So the first item for this evening is declaration of conflicts of interest. Does anyone have any conflicts they wish to declare? Okay, so we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover to adopt the agenda in its current form? Moved by Councillor Esty. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor of adopting the agenda in its current form, show your consent by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next, we have the adoption of the minutes for the January 6th Committee of the Whole meeting. Do I have a mover to adopt those minutes? Moved by Councillor Gingras. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Murray. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the minutes for the January 6th Committee of the Whole meeting, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed? Oh, there's a delay. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, so we're on to new business, and the first item is RCMP. Oh, the podium for that out of the way.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the invite. Just to identify myself, Sergeant Ricky LeBlanc. I'm the Operations NCO Detachment Commander for the Caledonia RCMP. That covers 4 regions of Fundy, Albert, Irish Town, or Maple Hills, Salisbury, and 3 Rivers. I'm also currently in charge of all of Region 7, which covers the Shediac and Sackville area. So Sergeant Pierre Lucache couldn't be here tonight, but he also covers Caledonia, so he helps out with the day-to-day, but I take most of the blunt of the work for Caledonia Detachment. I think I've met most of you already through past community events. It's good to see you again. For business, basically, I've been back since October, so we've been working on getting a lot of our community-based work done. We've done a lot through the holidays, did some proactive check stops, handing out some Mad Canada pamphlets. We've done a lot of fundraising for different food banks throughout the holidays as well. As we're moving through the new year, you'll probably get the invite soon for the priority setting for Region 7 for the next fiscal year. So we're looking at March, probably setting the new fiscal objectives for 26-27. I didn't bring anything specific. I wasn't asked to bring anything specific, but I'm open to any questions that anybody has.
So the priority setting is the survey you guys send, right?
Yeah, we start with the survey, and then we should be putting everybody together for the meetings for priority setting. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Officer LeBlanc? Wow, they were easy on you tonight.
That's okay. Glad to be here. Anytime, just send me the invite. Hannah, thank you for the invite.
Well, maybe next time you come, we can put up the quarterly report and go through it, and you can give them
Yeah, I can go through. I think so we're looking at, you guys didn't get Q3 yet?
I don't think so.
So usually it's a few weeks after. So yeah, maybe we can explore that on the next one, and
Sure.
Obviously reach in if there's anything.
Oh, we had someone, couple people change their mind.
Sorry.
Councillor Gingras.
I was just wondering if you could, talk about the importance of reporting in our neighborhoods.
For sure.
Good one.
It's a great question, and it's something that often comes up. Sorry, somebody's stuck in my ear. It's something that comes up a lot when it comes to why didn't we intervene in a specific case. And I always say that the quicker we get the information, the better, because we can act on it. I'll give you an example. We had a rash of thefts in the Fundy Albert area a few weeks ago. And I was asked a few weeks after why something wasn't done at a specific time. And I said, well, we were only aware a few days after. I know it was from learning after the fact. It was very live on Facebook where everybody was saying a lot of things, but it wasn't reported to us directly. So we take action with the information that we have. And I always say that you might think that a specific information is nothing, but to us it might be the last piece of the puzzle to get somebody arrested or in custody. So very important to call us for anything. The new model for policing now is that you call for a service, depending on if it's something that's urgent right away, there'll be a police intervention. If it's something, let's say a fraud, that's something that happened in the past, then you'll get somebody that's maybe more in an administrative capacity, but you will get a response. And the more you report something, so let's say an example, speeding on Highway 115, the more you report it, the more there'll be action. So I always say, call if there's anything, and we'll take action. Thank you.
Councillor Murray.
I'm just kind of piggybacking on that. I know there was kind of a string of like thefts when it came to some vehicles up on like Indian Mountain area, along with some like ATVs, I think, and a couple other things. After those were reported, did you guys kind of start doing more patrols in the area, or has that been more of a thing that you guys have started doing more patrols through the night? Just like I said, I know it's a topic that everyone always says, and I know most times we kind of have told them, and we've been told in the past that, you know, you guys do patrol the main roads and stuff, kind of throughout the night and stuff, even though we don't typically see you because we're sleeping, so.
You hit the nail right on the head. A lot of people say, well, when are you doing the patrols? And sometimes they see us during the day, or they don't see us during the day, but they don't realize that at the nighttime, sometimes we do more of the proactive during the nighttime. And I won't lie, the policing is a lot of paperwork as well, so you have to do a balance of paperwork to advance your investigations versus the proactive that we want to do. If we could do only proactive, that's what we do. But certainly, piggybacking on what we just said, the more we get calls for a certain area, the more we'll focus on that area. So if we know that there's thefts in a specific area of Maple Hills, we'll patrol that area.
Okay. Councillor Martin.
I know in conversations with your predecessor, I guess, the try was to get more members for our community specifically, and I'm just wondering, has there been any progress?
You mean for our region specifically?
Yes, yeah.
So we're at 27 officers, and that was a growth of 6 when I started. They had just gone from 21 to 27. So that was, as you know, the RCMP was allocated extra funds for added positions. It was not only for general duty policing, there was also for specialized policing as well. And at the time, we also had the Provincial Crime Reduction Unit, which is the provincial drug unit that was created for the province as well, which is located in various areas in the province. So I don't know what's the next phase of that. I know that it was a really, really good push for more policing in the area, and obviously I would take more officers if I could. I do what I can with what I have, but definitely we always advocate for getting more officers on the road. I know it's a two-sided thing as well, right? It's the province and the RCMP that talk to each other. So I don't know the discussions on that side, but I know that the effect of 6 extra members has been felt throughout the region for sure.
Okay, no, I'm just happy to hear that. I just want to make sure that that actually came through. So very happy to hear that. Thank you.
I can confirm that, so we have one position, just to, sorry to, to jump, give you a bit more clarity. So out of the 27 positions, we have 26 filled, and we have one that's open right now for promotion. So we're pretty much at our capacity that we can be.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have a hand raised there that I'm not seeing? Okay. So before we let you go, just, I know you sent us an email, but do you want to explain to council that? Oh, okay. Councillor Savoy does have a question, so I'll let him go first.
Just 1 second, Councillor Savoy. Secretary, Deputy Mayor, okay, go ahead.
Recently, the Kodiak RCMP has announced that they now have a dedicated unit for sexual crimes or assault to the person. Is that an issue with your detachment, or with something of that criminal nature would be diverted to Kodiak?
So we, Kodiak has their, like, obviously Kodiak is a regional police contract, so that's separate from us as a provincial contract. But I can say that it was announced through the province that we have units that are provincially funded that have been created. They're now being staffed at the moment, and those units will be responsible for all major sexual violence offenses. We have one team that's going to be based out of Shediac that will cover the Caledonia region as well. We also have the street crime unit, which I was seconded on for the whole last summer of 2025, which works more on bigger files such as home invasions and firearms and drugs-related incidents, directly working with the provincial drug unit and Kodiak RCMP as well. We jointly work with the Basically, because we know that crime that happens in Kodiak would be the same offenders in our region as well, so we work together for intelligence sharing.
Okay. So the email,
Yes.
excuse me, the email you sent, we have a new intermediate contact, I think is the best way to explain it. You're still our contact, but
Yes.
if you want to just explain to the,
So as I mentioned initially, so I'm in charge right now of the Shediac, Sackville area and Caledonia. But I will be your main contact for Caledonia, so you can send an email as regular process. Sergeant Pierre-Luc Cachet, who's the sergeant assigned to the Shediac office, is helping me for the day-to-day, but I'll be coordinating everything. I work out of the Caledonia office anyways, so please reach into me for anything, and if I'm not going to be doing specifically, I'll send it to Sergeant Cachet or a supervisor on shift, or depending on what it is.
just so if we see an email from a different, we understand.
For sure.
Okay? All right, so yeah, when the quarterly comes out, we'll reach back out, and like I said, you can probably explain it better than us just looking at it on the screen, so.
I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Have a great
coming.
night.
Okay, so next up, we have flag policies. So I'll let CAO Downey give a little background first, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so a little while back, council had asked us to do some research on a flag policy for Maple Hills. We have, I guess, developed this one for council's consideration. I made some last-minute amendments to it today, so hopefully everyone had the opportunity to look at that. It was just in the very first paragraph related to the, I guess, was it the intention of the policy? And then I removed one paragraph that didn't seem like it was necessary. So I guess I'm looking for council's input if they want any other amendments or research on anything before it's presented for adoption at the next meeting.
So does anybody have any additional? The amendments she made were, you guys were on the email. I had sent a request today just to change a little bit of language, so. Yeah, does anybody else have any? We're good?
My only question,
Martin,
oh,
sorry.
sorry,
Sorry.
I jumped the gun on that one. My only question, because we're following the New Brunswick rules in regards to half-mast and so on, if we have a individual community member that passes or something, and we'd like to honor that individual specifically for our community,
Excuse me, sorry.
do we have any leeway on that?
All I know on that is half-masting is passed down to us from the province of when to half-mast. This policy wouldn't allow us to, I guess this policy doesn't specify that we can do that if we wanted to, if there was somebody in the community. If council wants that to be included, we can.
I think the challenge I would see with that is you'd have to, what if you miss, you know what I mean? If you did it for some and not others because we missed someone, I don't know that I guess I don't know it's reasonable for us to always know, right? You wouldn't want to disrespect somebody by not, because you did it for some, that would be my only concern with adding that, and it's not typically common practice for municipalities to do it, so that would be my concern with that, I think. I don't dislike the idea, I'd hate that we might miss someone. Councillor Jean-Gras?
I understand that in those cases, that time would be of the essence, but at the end of the day, it's still just a policy, and council can, make a decision. We don't have to have, it's not like changing a bylaw or anything. I know in the past, we've made, changes or agreements on things by email, and I'm just wondering if perhaps, it could be that kind of case here where, a prominent figure or a figure of some renown in the community passes and we want to honor them, that we just make a decision quickly, amongst ourselves and just agree to do it. But I leave that to the CIO to respond?
So one instance I guess I could think of is, and I hate to even really say it, but if there happened to be a fatality of, a first responder, maybe a volunteer firefighter, that would be, or a member of council.
I think we're in the policy, aren't we?
That would be a very appropriate time where if we had a flag outside, that it would be flown at half-mast, yeah. If it's at something as you want to be included in the policy, that's up to you guys. Just give us the direction, or if you'd rather it to be.
I guess the only thing when we talk about this, I would agree with Councillor Jean that, like, yes, you're in the situation that you said, like a fatality that we wanted to do it. Maybe resolution isn't the right wording for the policy then, because that would require us to have a meeting, right, to pass a resolution. So maybe at council's discretion would be a better way to word it. So as Councillor Jean said, it's time is of the essence. You can't, we'll talk about it next week. That's not how we would be able to handle it. But if we all agreed that it were something that we could, in that instance, communicate with everybody, and if everybody's comfortable with it, proceed. Because I would agree that the example you gave, that is something that another municipality would probably also do, so. So maybe just changing the language from resolution to decision of council or
Okay,
agreement of council.
I'm just curious where it says by resolution.
Yeah, yes. Well, it did. Maybe it was. Oh, you know what? It might be in the portion that no.
That's for the authorized flags, I believe. Yeah, that's for section 4 authorized flags. For half-massing, it doesn't say anything regardless.
Right.
Regarding that.
Yeah, you're right. So under resolutions, it says no other flags shall be displayed on municipal flagpoles or facilities unless expressly authorized by council resolution. So something similar to that language, but maybe by council agreement or council discussion under the half-masting.
We can
That
add
makes sense.
something, yeah, we can
Okay.
add a paragraph like that, and then, you guys can review it at the next meeting and make your decision at that point.
Okay?
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. So the next one is the respectful workplace policy. Sorry, respectful workplace and harassment prevention policy.
Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit before, about how this was a requirement. We're legislated to have a harassment policy. So we wanted to have a nicer title, so we've entitled it Respectful Workplace and Harassment Prevention Policy. This also came from the recommendation of a MC advisory who we've been working with on this policy. So essentially, UMNB had secured the services of MC advisory for new municipalities coming from the amalgamation to help with any policies that we don't have. So we kind of took what she had and we took what was required by WorkSafe New Brunswick and blended these together to make a respectful workplace and harassment prevention policy. It contains absolutely everything that's going to cover us by WorkSafe and by legal standpoint. So this is the draft. I'm not sure if council has had an opportunity to go through it or not, but this would be your time to make suggested amendments or additions or deletions.
So do we have any suggested amendments or changes? Anybody? Councillor Jean.
It's not a change to the policy at all. It's more, the first time I read this yesterday, and I don't know if changes were made to it since, but I just noticed differences between Canadian spelling and American spelling, and I just wanted to make sure that it was consistent throughout. That's all.
Our in-house proofreader. Thanks, David.
Which do you prefer, the Canadian or the American spelling? We'll make sure that it's consistent.
Excuse me. So I actually had a couple things. And if anybody I actually didn't send them in ahead of time because I wanted to make sure everybody agreed with what I was suggesting. So in the definitions, like for harassment, I'm I'm sure that it's assumed, but I'd like to see it include social media and electronic messaging, because when you read it, it just sort of sounds like if someone said something to you that was inappropriate, it doesn't include social media or electronic messaging, and I'd just like to see that added to make sure that we are acknowledging that it's not okay for you to do it that way either. Anybody have a? Clerk Rousseau.
There is a section in the policy that specifies social media and all of that.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging that harassment, because I think it was a definition, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the definition came from MC Advisory, so we'll certainly check with them if that can be added as well.
Okay, I just wouldn't want anybody to be able to say, well, I didn't realize I wasn't allowed to send a nasty email, like, okay. And I wondered if we could include defamation, because it's not in there. Oh, and so in 10.2, it talks about resolution, formal resolution. And it includes what the steps would be if the CAO was either the complainant or the respondent. But we didn't put anything about what would happen if, in the informal steps, if the CAO were the informant or complainant or respondent. So I guess if you were following the policy, but the CAO was involved on one side of it or the other, we didn't give instructions as to what the next steps would be, because the next steps are to go to the CAO and have it resolved that way. Go ahead.
We'll certainly check with MC Advisory, because I do believe they're the ones that did that portion, right, Hannah?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the first thing you had, social media and?
Electronic messaging.
For electronic messaging.
Number 9 included the examples, and again, if you want to go back to MC advisories, but the examples examples of harassment in a municipal setting, the examples included repeated disrespectful, threatening, and demeaning comments made by a member of the public. But there's nothing in here about how that would be addressed, because that wouldn't obviously necessarily, it's not an internal office thing. So it's kind of unclear what would happen in that particular situation. That was all I had. Councillor Esty?
For the piece on defamation that you mentioned, couldn't we just add that possibly into, like, instead of having its own, because where defamation is already, I don't know if it's a civil or like a criminal thing, but it already has its own definition, and it's something that would have to be proven in one sense that it's untrue. Couldn't we just include that in, because that's a hard thing to police, because we'd have to define it. Where there's already a legal theory behind defamation. So maybe instead we could add it to, I think it's section 6, where it talks about the verbal, I was just looking at it.
I was actually suggesting we add it to section 5 as a definition or an explanation
Or we
of
just
what would
add
be
it,
inappropriate behavior.
or we add it into verbal abuse, because like,
Yeah.
because defamation, it's like, you're saying something that's not true.
Right.
Who's going to be the arbiter of that? You know what I mean? Like who's going to arbitrate if something's true on, if someone puts something on Facebook, how do we know if it's right or not? Like, it's just going to be, right. So I think that language might already be included in verbal abuse, unless we want to add a word like that that's not all the way over there, because there is something about teasing, put downs, name calling. Like, if someone's going to defame someone, they're likely going to be using things that are already included probably in the verbal abuse, which could then also extend into social media without having to decide what's true and what's not true for the sake of determining what's defamation.
Yeah, if you want it to be included under harassment or personal, I just like to see it in there. Unfortunately, I thought of this stuff because of the unfortunate things that I've heard other council members of other councils say that they've experienced.
Right.
So as I read this, I was trying to think of what examples, and that is one that a staff member has, defamed a councillor or a mayor.
sure.
So I just thought it was appropriate to have it in there to make sure that it's clear that, or in some cases, the council has defamed, done it to a staff member, like, and I just want to make sure that we don't ever let that happen, or, that we make sure that it's clear that we don't accept that behavior. But yeah,
But that probably is verbal abuse, though. Because like defamation is its own legal theory. So like
it
it
could be on
is.
social media.
No, but like say, I'm just gonna make something up. Someone says, this person did this. So we'd have to go investigate it because it's only defamation if it's not true. What if it's true?
Right.
Then it's not defamation. So it's like, we'd have to be spending resources to go determine if the thing's not true in order to police it according to the policy, when if we had it in with verbal abuse, if someone is coming on hot and they're repeatedly bringing up something contentious, it may already, the way it reads, I think it may already fall under verbal abuse, which could then be extended over to social media.
Okay, no, that's fair.
That's-
I'm assuming the office is probably going to go back to MC advisories on all this anyway, right? Okay. Councilor Martin?
I agree with what Councilor Esty was saying on this. Once you get into defamation and libel, you're into a next level of legal, which is beyond this anyway. And then for us to have to go into police it becomes a whole nother attribute of who is going to be the judge in that instance to say it's right or wrong. I'd be interested in having something like it. I just don't know where specifically to put it, because that is a tricky one.
Councilor Jean
I believe under application, it says this, talking about or speaking to the policy and who it applies to. It says employees, elected officials, volunteers, contractors, and I'm not really seeing anything about the public, which I'm okay with, but I think the public is mentioned at one point in this policy.
Yeah, it
And
is.
what concerns me is that, this might be construed as a way to limit, the engagement with the public. And I wouldn't want to find a way to stop people from engaging. And I understand sometimes in the heat of the moment, they might say something that's, not acceptable. But at the same time, they said something about one issue that wasn't acceptable. The next issue, they may be completely reasonable. And so I don't want to be in a position where we're excluding people from reaching out to us or reaching out to administration just because, they did say one thing.
So I'll just,
That's-
it's actually defined as
Okay.
repeated disrespectful, threatening, or demeaning comments made by a member of the public towards staff during service interactions. So it's not somebody getting upset once.
Okay.
It specifically states repeated.
Yeah, I read that as well, and I guess my concern still is that, the public aren't going to read this policy. But I am still concerned about that, as we attempt to find ways to get people to interact with council or with the municipality more, I wouldn't want this to be used, that's my concern, as a way to limit people from engaging with us, that's all.
Okay, so I guess we can include that with what I said about, like, it's listed, but we don't have steps to follow if it's a problem. Maybe ask MC advisories both things, like how are we able to include it? Because we need to make sure that you ladies in the office we can't expect you to just take it because we don't want to discourage somebody from coming to the office, but Councillor Jean Gras is right, we don't want to word it in a way that makes it seem like we can use it to not allow you to come to the office either.
Yeah, it's certainly not the intention of the policy. But as an employer of myself and me as an employer of my staff, it's mandatory that you guys protect me from being harassed and that I protect my staff from being harassed. A lot of that harassment that most times are gonna be seen is on social media. Or it could be repeat phone calls. So that's why this is legislated for us to have a harassment policy. That's why WorkSafe New Brunswick requires us to have it. It's not to block somebody on Facebook that we don't like, or, you know, something like that. I'm not sure if there's another example, but I don't know how we can add more that's not gonna limit us. It would be an internal process of how we deal with those situations as they come. Luckily, we've not had this situation come up, but a time will come.
Councillor Jean.
So just to add on to, not to add on, but to agree with the mayor about what she said, I would like to see some kind of process, like, you know, even if it's you know, a first warning of some kind, or, you know, at least the public then knows, the person then knows that they have been in contravention of our policy on this. Just, you know, at least there are steps towards limiting how they interact, as opposed to just, you know, one day they find out they can't reach out to us anymore. Thank you.
I guess I should qualify. When I asked for the steps, I never envisioned it being you can't talk to us again. I just wanted to know, like, how are we going to keep track of it? And, I mean, if it means that the CAO and I have to sit down with the person and explain I'm okay with that. We don't have it in there, so we should have something. Councillor Esty?
So kind of continuing on with that conversation on social media, I think that people should be allowed posting negative comments if they don't like something.
Yeah.
Because the way that harassment's written, it means any objectionable or offensive behavior that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome. So, like, we've debated some policies that were well-attended meetings where people didn't like stuff, and if they went on our Facebook page and were expressing that, and they were animated, unless they were actually threatening people, or I wouldn't remove it, you know, like I would leave it. So kind of, I just don't want this to be seen as like a censorship thing where unless you're agreeing with what council's doing, your comment's gonna be deleted, and, you know, it is de facto public forum, and I want to leave it that way. But obviously, if the language makes its way over to harassment or threats or the stronger things, it's just objectionable can be somewhat relative, and it's like, he's a little bit mean, but does it really need to be deleted? And it's just, someone's calling that at some point, and I'd rather err on the side of not deleting stuff unless it gets closer to like more of the bullying, harassment, than just something that's...
So that is part of the definition. It says,
Well, just the first clause in and of itself, like the way the comma is, seems like anything objectionable could be considered. The rest are...
that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome, including bullying or other
Right.
conduct, comment, or display made on either a one-time or repeated basis that threatens the well-being, health, and safety of an employee, but does not include reasonable conduct of an employer in respect to the management and direction of employees at the place of employment.
Right. So those are, like the way I read this, those are kind of qualifiers. So as long as that first part of that statement, it's like, I don't like it, therefore it's bad. Like it would have to probably meet some of those conditions in and of itself, and not just the first line where, you know, what's objectionable mean? Like, I guess that's my point.
So I guess, so how would you like to, like, I'm just trying to understand how you'd like to see it worded instead, I guess, because I'm not like, if it's all there, give me an example of what you'd like to see instead. I just, unless Hannah, you're good, like you understand what he's trying to.
Means...
Not entirely, no. No. I think I understand council's,
It's objectionable. It's like the word objectionable, because that's where you can say, I find that objectionable. So it's like, okay, well, so it's more that word, because it it gives it some relativity that I find the rest of the content, that could be defining what makes it harassment as opposed to taking out the more subjective part of the definition where it's, the second part's not qualifying what's objectionable, it's actually saying these are the violations in and of itself.
So I think, because I think we're specifically speaking about social media here.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
So by very definition, harassment, it's not something that just happens once and that's it, then the person leaves. It would be continuous posting of, Counselor so-and-so is a blah, blah, blah. And they consistently put that. By the way, if there is ever a comment that has to be deleted because let's say it's vulgar or extremely inappropriate.
Yes.
There's a process that we have to go through. We have to screenshot what we're doing. That is now a record of the municipality, and we have to store that so that if ever it came back and said, where did that comment go? We have a record that was there. So it's not, it's kind of like, we can't just take an email and delete it and then go in and delete. It's still a record of the municipality. So even a deleted comment, it might be deleted from the page, but
Right.
it's always still gonna be there for 7 years or whatever it is in the records management. But I think that council should have a little bit of faith in staff that we're not just going to go in and delete comments. Because we are in the public service business here.
Right.
And what people have to say matters. It's when they get vulgar, and I can't even imagine, like, it has to be pretty bad to delete it. It's not, you guys don't, something know what you're something doing.
Right.
Like, that's not even harassment. It has to be very personal. So calling somebody specific out, and repeatedly. And I had presented council with a social media policy before, that gained no traction. And that social media policy actually outlined when comments could be removed from the page. So if you want us to go back and add some of those to this, we could do that. Because most of harassment is going to be related to social media.
True. So, yeah, like, so, your example where you mentioned that you hope that council, that we trust you to not be, so with that whole conversation, so someone could technically go on and say, I'm not satisfied with the way that Councillor Esty voted. I don't like the way that
Not
Hannah
harassment.
did this.
That's not harassment.
That's not harassment. So just as long as they're able to express things objectively that they don't like, even if they're, even if they're animated, I think they should have that right. So as long as, and that's why the word objectionable, where it seems a little relative, where it's objectionable to me because I don't like it, I think that's the part that I was kind of having problems with. But the way that you explained it, I think I'm good with it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Actually, with Hannah's explanation of the process and in agreeance with Mark on this one, I'm good.
Okay. Counselor Savoy, did you have anything you wanted to add? He's shaking his head no. Okay. Okay. So, sorry, CAO Downing, we threw a lot at you there. Are you good? Do you need
I think
any clarifying?
if it's okay, what I'll do is, we'll go through it, we'll make some, tracked changes. Send it off to council via email so that we don't have to come back to another committee of the whole. Again, all those emails, discussions, it's all, it's all public record, so we're not, doing anything that we wouldn't normally do at a council meeting. And then we'll present another one, and if council's okay at the February 17th meeting, we should be able to have it ready for adoption in 2 weeks with some changes, but I'll send it to council beforehand so that you all have a chance to see it before the meeting.
Okay,
And yeah,
okay, so let's plan to watch for the email, and if we wish for further amendments or comments, we'll send them back to CAO Downing when we receive the email. Okay. All right, so the next one should be a quick one. It's the Plan 360 Activity Report. Hannah loves to talk about it, so.
yeah, I won't go over it. I believe December's is posted now.
Yes, it is. yeah.
Okay. So we should be getting January's, we'll always be a couple months behind there. I highly doubt anybody has any questions about it.
Yep, that's right. For the 2025 year, we went up 28 million, over 28 million in residences. I think we can all be happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last topic is the Maple Hills Safety Committee. So I believe I'll let you go.
Okay, I'm a little excited about this. So, Mayor Warren had pointed out that what I had attached before was simply the cover page of the Municipal Emergency Measures Plan. I've uploaded the new one since, but you guys might not see it because you're, you might just still see the cover page. It is the same 96 pager that was circulated to council before. And it is the same, I think I have a blurb that I wrote out here. It's the same one that the other municipalities in our mutual aid agreement have adopted. If it's okay, I'm just going to get up and go to the book stand over here. So we do, I have a printed copy of it if anybody needs to look at it or maybe just pass it along. It's that 96 pager.
So I think we also went through this with Mr. Parsons the first time he was here as well, right?
Sorry, Mayor Warren, what was that? What was your
I
question?
said I think we went through this document with Mr. Parsons when he first was here.
Mr. Parsons.
Isn't that, did I say it wrong?
Mr. Lindsay?
Sorry, Mr. Lindsay. Yes, I'm sorry. So
Yes.
sorry. I don't know
So,
where that came from.
yes. So what the committee that I'm gonna talk about in a second did was they had gone through, and I believe there's 13 pages. Mr. Lindsay, is there 13 action run cards? 15? So essentially at the back of that, there's a whole bunch of different scenarios. We took the most likely, that we're most likely at risk for. And we've put together these duty manager books, so if there's ever an emergency that comes up or a potential emergency, we have our go books. Okay, so we had a couple of committee meetings. We've actually had a few, I think. We had one November 24th. January 15th, we met as a committee again. And then on the 27th, I believe, we had another one. So what we've done is, I've invited anybody from the committee that we've put together to come tonight. Miss Enid Legier was available to attend, so this is Enid. She's actually, what we're putting forward as our recording secretary. And of course, we have Jim here as well. So the committee has come together, put forward a name for council to consider, and we would like the committee to be appointed as council as a committee, as a standing committee. And we also have the members, the voting members listed and their positions. So out of 2 recommendations that night, that was one, and the other one is for council to approve the municipal emergency measures plan, the 96 pager. And essentially, just as a reminder, jog your memory, that was developed by NBEMO. And what everyone's done is just taken the title page, put their own logo on it, and it's a nice package together. So, the first recommendation is a motion for council to consider. It's whereas the recommendation received from the committee for council's consideration is that the committee be established as a standing committee known as and this is where your decision comes in, the Maple Hills Safety Committee, or the Maple Hills Safety Advisory Committee. At our January 27th meeting, when the advisory name came up as part of the committee, everyone kind of thought, yeah, we like this. So it's really clear that it is an advisory committee for council. So council has a situation such as the emergency plan. You pass it on to the committee, they review it, make decision, vote. Their vote comes back to council for consideration. So it's very clear amongst the committee that they are not decision makers. They are an advisory team or advisory committee. So essentially they are a response team. So you guys will have a decision that needs to be made. You put it back to them. They do all the work, the research. They call their meeting, and then they come back with a motion for council to consider. So is there anything that I missed, Enid, you think that?
No, that was.
Okay.
That was the big thing, the committee name.
The committee name and the composition. So, you can see everything here. Luc Toiron is committee chair. Council liaisons, Deputy Mayor Mark Savoie. Steve Richardson with the Fire Department, Moncton Fire Department. Enid as our recording secretary. Mike Mullins, Floyd Meunier, Amanda Robichaud, Darren Huber, Doug Horseman. And of course, due to our procedural bylaw, Mayor Warren would be an ex officio voting member. And non-voting members are myself, Nadia Vanessa, and Mr. Lindsay as the EMO coordinator. So is there any questions about that first motion?
Councillor Gingras?
I don't know if it's about the first motion, but it's more, and maybe it's already been mentioned. I'm just wondering if there's a cost to the committee and if it's been accounted for in the budget. That's all. I just want to know, just for clarification.
So there's no budget right now for the committee.
Okay.
It's something that council could consider in the 2027 budget. Would be, providing mileage if somebody had to go somewhere to pick something up. But typically staff will carry any expense that we need to, to conduct the meeting. Jim has been bringing cookies and donuts and out of his own pocket. But it would be very minimal as far as maybe like coffee, something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Martin?
I, for one, wouldn't mind in the upcoming budget allowing some funds because these people are stepping up. Thank you very much, by the way. So I don't want to see anything come out of their own pockets when they're doing this for all of us, so.
Good point. Councillor, or Deputy Mayor Savoie, do you have anything being on the?
Yeah, just a couple points. One is a question to CAO. Is there a term to the positions? Are we going to revise the formation of the committee every year, every 2 years?
It's a really good question. So my next step for this committee, and it is actually sort of outlined in our procedural bylaw, when there's a committee of council, there's a terms of reference. So my next step would be have the committee review a terms of reference that I was going to sort of just put together for them to consider. The terms of reference would come back to council, of course, for consideration, but the terms of those positions would be under the terms of reference.
Okay, and my second point is for the members of the committee, when we get swag, I think it'd be an honorable thing to offer the members of the committee swag as well.
You're saying like a
It
shirt
would give
or
them
a,
a sense of,
A toque.
oh, okay.
No identification badge saying I'm with Maple Hills. But yeah, absolutely, we want them to proudly represent Maple Hills.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, which is part of the point of council actually approving the committee of council with the members. So anytime, it'll be in the terms of reference, whether it's a 2-year, so anytime that the committee is refreshed with people, that the council approve the actual members of the committee.
Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Councillor Savoie, were you finished? Or Deputy Mayor Savoie, were you finished? I will get that eventually. Wow. Maybe, no, I didn't. No, Councillor Martin was Deputy Mayor Martin for quite a while.
2025 until March.
It's not that I don't embrace change, I'm just not good at changing it in my own head, I guess. Okay, so on that note, I would now take a motion to adjourn. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Esty. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
Oh.
We can do it now after the meeting's adjourned, because it's not really, yeah.
Sorry.
We're getting there. Just
My-
a quick update.
I'll just say my apologies. I just assumed you were here in case we had questions, which it didn't seem like anybody did, so.
That's fine. The Carson part